What is going on, y'all? It is the Caveman back at it again with another video. Another week, another game of Bills football has officially been completed. And I mean, I'm just as speechless after this game as I was after the first one. Buffalo Bills walk out of their home opener with a victory over a team that a lot of this fan base has come to really hate because we couldn't beat them over the last few years, being the Tennessee Titans with a 41-7 victory. It really was never close outside of the first 8 minutes. After just 2 weeks of football, the Buffalo Bills have sent out two massive warning shots to the rest of the NFL, taking down the Super Bowl champions in week 1 and then taking down the first seed in the AFC from last year as well in pretty dominant fashion. I'd be pretty terrified if I was the Miami Dolphins right now. That's next week's matchup, and we'll worry about that when that time comes. But right now, I want to go over 4 takeaways that I have from this game with you guys, and I want to know your thoughts. One quick thing, though, before I get to those 4 takeaways, I'm sending all my thoughts and prayers to Dane Jackson. I'm sure you saw what happened last night. Although we've gotten positive news since the incident occurred, he's got movement in all his extremities. He's out of the hospital. It was still an extremely terrifying thing to watch, and seeing the replay in slow motion, the way his neck jarred back, that was scary. I mean, football aside, nothing mattered in that moment except for Dane Jackson's well-being. For anyone out there blaming Tremaine Edmonds for what happened, you got to understand how fast the game is played. He probably misjudged a tackle by 1/7 of a second, trying to hit a receiver in the torso to help Dane Jackson bring him down. But Dane Jackson brought him down sooner than Tremaine Edmonds expected, and it was friendly fire. I mean, it's just such a bang-bang play. It was not on purpose. He did not go for a very extremely late tackle. I have seen players come in with far later hits that are much more dangerous to the individual they are actually targeting than what Tremaine Edmonds actually did here. So there's just no blaming the kid. It was unfortunate. It just sucks. Like I said, the nature of the sport. Anyways, let's get into my first takeaway from this game, being no Gabe Davis, no problem. That poor Titan secondary was left helpless while Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs single-handedly dissected them down inch by inch, yard to yard. It was really a complete masterclass performance once again. Josh Allen went 26 for 38, 317 passing yards, and 4 passing touchdowns. Meanwhile, Stefon Diggs himself had 14 targets, 12 receptions, 148 receiving yards, and 3 touchdowns. There was rightful concern heading into this game. Without Gabe Davis, our second outside wide receiver, who is going to be helping Stefon Diggs move the ball down this field? Who is going to be stepping into his role? Well, we didn't have to worry about that because Stefon Diggs had 35.9% of the target share in this game. For some reason, they just let him run free. I was confused by the Titans' game plan from the very first snap of the game when he had Stefon Diggs for 4 yards over the middle. They gave our offense so much cushion underneath, it was unbelievable. The reason why that's so confusing to me is probably obvious. Gabe Davis wasn't in this game. He's usually our deep threat. He's our field stretcher, and without him playing, I'm not sure who they were afraid of running further than 20 to 25 yards downfield. Stefon Diggs is no longer that deep threat guy that he was in Minnesota. Ever since he got to Buffalo, he's been the short to intermediate guy. That's where he does his best work, between 5 to 15 yards, whether that's over the middle or to the boundary. That's exactly where they were giving Diggs space all damn game, and whenever he had to create that space, he was able to do so relatively easily. Not sure why the Titans did that. I don't know what the game plan truly was, but they gave us all the space that Josh and Steph needed, and they picked them apart. They ripped them to shreds, and then there was just 3 dialed up deep shots that were 20 yards or further downfield. The real dagger was when Diggs actually went deep with the 46-yard touchdown bomb. I mean, like I said, I don't know what the Titans were doing in this game. Gabe Davis was not playing. There was really nobody to respect deep down the field. I'll take Stefon Diggs on a 35.9% target share all damn day. You're not beating the Buffalo Bills if he is successfully getting the ball that often. It's just not going to happen. The second takeaway from this game is Ken Dorsey was able to willingly get away from the ground game for the benefit of our offense, and that's something that we really haven't been able to do in the past. Ken Dorsey, in his second game as an offensive coordinator in the NFL, to be able to do that when this league is so predicated on establishing the run and all that other bullshit, that's impressive to me. The way that the Buffalo Bills offense was moving the ball up the field in last night's game, as well as week 1, the ground game really isn't all that necessary. The short passing game is doing exactly what that run game would be doing if it was successful anyway. The first 3.5 quarters of last night's game, when we actually had the starters on the field, there were 9 run plays called. Just 9. And 6 of those 9 carries occurred on the first 2 drives in just the first quarter, which only averaged 3 yards per carry, which were extremely inflated thanks to a Devin Singletary 17-yard run. Titans' defensive front is typically stout. They usually play the run extremely well, and we saw that in the first quarter, and that's probably why we only saw 3 more carries while the starters were on the field throughout the next 2.5 quarters. For anyone that thinks that's a concern that we weren't able to really run the ball effectively, effectively. Well, let's just get real here. It's 2022. The Titans have a very good defensive front, and we have an offense that can pass every play and will be perfectly fine. There were 3 drives in this game where we didn't call a single run play, and we had that 46-yard bomb to Stefon Diggs. I think we're going to be just fine. Well, I will say I'm getting sick of Devin Singletary not being on the field. I'm done with Zach Moss. It was nice to see Reggie Gilliam involved. He actually made a few plays, obviously had that touchdown. Devin Singletary, at this point, and I will say it until it happens, has deserved to earn at least 65% of snaps in these games. He doesn't get a large enough workload. He doesn't see a large enough snap count to where he needs to be trapped in this rotation. Not even a question that he's proven to be the best back that we have on this team. So please put him on the field more often, and please give him the ball. I'll say it every week until it freaking happens. Next up, for my third takeaway in this game, the defense once again was extremely stiff. Gave the offense of the Titans no room to breathe, and we made sure that even when the offense had a couple miscues, that the Titans offense couldn't come on the field and take control of the game. We have the best defense in the NFL right now, and I could say that with 100% confidence. We saw last year what a number 1 defense could potentially look like, but that was not actually a number 1 defense. What we're watching through the first 2 weeks of 2022 is actually what a number 1 defense looks like. Ryan Tannehill did not see much time in the pocket, and Derrick Henry really was not able to get going. He did have their only score, but other than that, he was pretty much invisible throughout the entire game. I forgot we even played him, to be honest. But something that I think is continuously going unnoticed throughout the first 2 weeks is that the offense, as great as it's been, it's still having those 2021 or even 2020 moments where, for whatever reason, for like 2 to 3 drives within the game, we just completely stall out and just do nothing. The difference is our defense doesn't let the opposing offense come out on the field and take control and take advantage of those offensive miscues that we have, and we keep the momentum in our favor, and we continuously make sure that the opposing quarterback has no room to breathe. It happened last week against the Rams. We threw 2 picks and had a fumble in the first half, and we left that half tied 10-10. We probably should have been losing, but thanks to our defense, we weren't. Same thing with last night against the Titans. We had that turnover on downs. We weren't able to pick up that 4th and 1, and then we also had another 4th and 1 that we were going to go for, but then we had a stupid false start and had to settle for 3. Those are miscues on the offensive side of the ball that in the past would have come back to bite us, because the Tennessee Titans hypothetically would have came on the field and Derrick Henry would have started to take over the game. Our defense would not have been able to slow him down. They would have had a long drive, put up 7 points on the board, and started to take over. But thanks to our defensive unit playing so well collectively, thanks to that defensive front not giving Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry any room to run, we were absolutely fine, and the offense was able to step back on the field and continue the plow that we were going on. Like I said, though, the offense is still having those miscues throughout the game. They're just getting swept under the rug because the defense is keeping the game in our control, and that's something we have not had in the past, and it is so wonderful to see. While talking about the defense as great as everybody played, I wanted to give credit to Tremaine Edmonds and Matt Milano. Our linebacker duo played fantastic in this matchup. Might have been one of the best games that Tremaine Edmonds played in his career. He was all over the place. He had a sack. He had 2 tackles for loss. He had a tip pass that went for an INT. He played to his size, his strength, and his length last night. He was playing sideline to sideline. He was dropping back into coverage. He was getting to the line of scrimmage and making tackles behind it. This is what we've been waiting for from the kid, and I'm so glad we were able to see it on full display last night. And I think that has a lot to do with how well the defensive front plays. He's got less decisions to make. He's able to just kind of play freely. Same goes for his partner in Matt Milano. They both played to the same level, and watching them play together was a complete work of art. And that's what we expect, and we see that from Matt Milano on a regular basis. But watching Tremaine do it right beside him, I mean, it was just so beautiful. Our final takeaway from this game is how the injury bug will eventually catch up to us if it continues to bite. We already had a few injuries going into the game, and we really didn't leave that much healthier. We're already missing Gabe Davis, Tim Settle, Ed Oliver, and a couple other pieces going into the game. Then obviously the Dane Jackson incident happened. Micah Hyde went down with what looked like a head injury. It was listed as a neck later on. Morse went down early in the game. Thankfully, he was able to return. It's been reported at this point in time that everyone is okay, including Dane Jackson, including Micah Hyde. Everyone seems to be all right, and no major injuries were really sustained. Injury bug really bit us over the last week or so, including in last night's game. So I'm glad everyone is all right, but if these injuries continue to stack up, they're definitely going to catch up to us. Anyways, ending on a brighter note, those are my 4 takeaways from last night's matchup. The Buffalo Bills take down the Tennessee Titans, who were formerly the first seed in the AFC, 41-7. A second warning shot sent out to the rest of the league. They better keep their eyes open, and you better believe we are striking fear into everyone that's on our schedule going forward. We are the biggest threat to every team in the NFL at this point in time, and I fucking love it. As always, leave your thoughts down below, and if you enjoyed, please like, subscribe, do all the fun stuff. If you want to hit the bell to be notified when I upload, I'd appreciate that. And go over to Twitter, follow me over there, I'd appreciate that as well. I have a TikTok down in the description that I think you should check out, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace. Go Bills.